All right. Are we doing a 2-minute countdown or are we
No,
going live?
no, we are live.
Oh, never mind then. We are live. Hello, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. Hey, everybody. My name is Andrew. I am Hedera Hashgraph's social media manager, and welcome back to another episode of the Forkless Cafe. We took last week off, so it's good to see you here because we had a long weekend last weekend with the holiday. But we're glad to be back with you with the live stream. Sorry for the technical hiccups there, but we're very stoked to do this live stream with you because we even have a last-minute guest for you as well. So we're super pumped and excited to go through some of the news with everybody. But this is the Forkless Cafe. This is where you come to get your weekly DLT insights. My name is Andrew. I'm the social media manager for Hedera Hashgraph, and we also have Sharon Cross, who is my friend and colleague. Sharon, why don't you say hi?
Hey, how's it going today? I'm going to be watching that chat. So if you guys have questions for Philip or for Andrew related to the technology, let us know. That's
right. Yeah, and we also have Philip today. Philip, thank you, a million thank yous for joining us today. It was completely last minute. And I've seen how active you are in our Telegram chat and all the support you've been offering to people asking questions. That has not gone unnoticed. I would love for you to say hi, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you first came across Hedera Hashgraph.
Hey, thanks, Andrew. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a passion of mine. Blockchain or that kind of stuff, I pretty much ignored. I saw the hype and I didn't really want to get into that. I have a background in enterprise software, so I work for a large company that does engineering software. And I remember following Mike Maloney as he was doing his episode 8 of Hidden Secrets of Money, and that just really floored me. And so I really had been not very hopeful for the future, and I'd seen a lot of issues coming up potentially. And Mike's video and Hedera has really, taken me to a place of a lot of hope, really, for the future.
That's exciting. That's what I really appreciate your insight there. I know I'm always taken aback by the community members that I come across in our Telegram chat. We constantly hear how what a high quality caliber of people that we see in the chat. And I've mentioned certain names over the previous live streams. And you are a part of that group, Philip. So I apologize for not giving you more of a heads up to join us today on the Forkless Cafe. We had sort of someone in mind, and they dropped out on us. So we were actually going to do the Forkless Cafe today without a guest. And then I thought, you know what? No, I got to reach out to Philip because I've seen how active you are. And I wanted to, get you onto the live stream because I'm sure the community would love to see you and hear from you and hear your opinions. So I'm excited to go through some of the industry highlights and the Hashgraph highlights with you and everybody. So feel free to jump in. I know you haven't had any real time to prepare, but feel free to jump in whenever you feel like it makes sense, and we'll go from there.
And hey, you know what, Andrew? This is our last live stream before going open access. So Philip has a really great position here. Pretty exciting.
This is true. This is true. Yeah, Philip, you definitely have a power spot.
Yeah, I'm also an ambassador, and I've been looking to do a meetup after. Really looking forward to doing that.
Perfect.
New people in a new city.
Is this the first meetup you're hosting, or have you already hosted one before?
Yes, it's been.
Oh, wow.
I have a lot of travel schedule, and it's really been a challenge to get anything scheduled. But so this is looking forward to hosting this.
Yeah, fantastic. I've hosted a number of meetups myself, and I think you're going to really actually appreciate meeting your local community members who are interested in learning more about Hedera Hashgraph. There's been a lot of news and buzz lately, so you're certainly going to have a lot more questions and interest around now. But yeah, thanks for hosting the meetup. I'm sure your local community members will really appreciate that. So to start things off, as always, our objective is just to share interesting news in the industry and the Hashgraph ecosystem. We do have this disclaimer here. I don't read it out loud for people anymore, but with the world we live in today, we unfortunately do have these disclaimers that we have to start off with. But we're going to start off with industry insights, and I'm just going to quickly scroll through some of these. Where are we? There we are. There's a bit of a delay here. These are the industry insights. I'll share my screen with these links, and these links will be provided for everybody in hashgraph.org. And we'll leave a link to hashgraph.org in the description below this video. This is very, we do this live stream as a way to highlight at a very high level certain content that we've noticed is trending in the marketplace, or certain posts that really outperform the rest. So I'm going to start things off with, actually, we're going to move that one. I don't know how that happened there. Oh, you got to love technology sometimes. Let's move that one over there. We're going to start things off here with this, the Block article. Paxos embraces gold-pegged crypto as sea change in gold trading. So this was an interesting article to notice, because for those of you who have a understanding or a background of fiat currency, will remember that money was created to represent gold, because gold is actually very immobile. It's not easily accessible for people to transport from point A to point B, and that's when people started creating receipts to represent the gold, and eventually evolved into fiat currency. So Paxos is a stablecoin issuer, and they have created PaxG, which will attract gold investors to cryptocurrency trading, while also seeing adoption by crypto native investors looking to diversify their portfolios. So that is their target market that they're going after here. Yeah, I don't know if you had a chance to come across this one here, Philip, but. Oh, Philip, you're muted right there.
Yeah, actually, I have seen that one. I'm actually a huge gold fan. Like gold and silver are two of my favorite. You know, Mike Maloney and his Hidden Secrets, he's just really into that. They're just so different. Required to maintain them. You know, long-term gold and silver, I think, are going to be complementary. I don't think they're going to be in competition. I think they're just completely different, and I think they're going to work together. Historically, gold has really matched population growth, so I'm not sure gold is actually going to work as well in the future for money as it has historically. So I'm really interested in it, though. It's still something I think will be a real big asset. Interesting, yeah, because in recent years we've noticed basically a brand new asset class that's popped up, right? So that's a fair point. I mean, we've had gold around for a long time. A lot of people call it real money, and now we're in some uncharted territory right now these days, aren't we? I would love to highlight this. Oh, sorry, did you have something to add there? No, I was just saying historically it's been a good thing, and I think it will be in the future. It's going to be different. I think Hedera and other come in and really make a difference in the market. Thank you. Yeah. So we came across this Harvard Business Review article. Will we realize blockchain's promise of decentralization? I really wanted to highlight this one for everybody. This actually, a friend shared this link with me, and I highly recommend everyone to check this out, because the claim to fame for blockchain / DLT technology is the decentralization aspect of the technology. And I don't think there's anybody out there that's disputing the decentralization aspect of the technology itself. But ultimately, at the end of the day, there needs to be some order and some governance involved. So in this article, they go over the 4 dimensions of Bitcoin governance: governing new transactions, governing consensus, governing updates, and governing the design. But then down here, I found this paragraph particularly interesting, distinguishing between envisioned and enacted blockchain governance. The Bitcoin example shows us how real-life blockchain governance can differ significantly from how it is envisioned.
from transaction submission and validation, as well as protocol updates, enacting governance appears to be considerably more centralized than envisioned governance. Even if decentralization is envisioned, it may not materialize. We can see that in practice, the dimensions that are design-related protocol development and updates tend to be marked by particularly centralized governance, while those that are related to the actual use of blockchain transaction validation and submission tend to be somewhat more decentralized. So sort of defeats the purpose to have a decentralized technology that is ultimately governed by a centralized entity, for lack of a better word. So I highly recommend everyone to check out this article. I think this touches on many reasons and aspects why Hedera Hashgraph has gone to such lengths to put together a truly decentralized governing council representing 18 different sectors, globally distributed, and also distributed across time, since all governing council members are restricted to terms. So I highly recommend everyone to check out the article. I think this, whoever, I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't even know who the author of this article is. Who do we have here? Hannah Halliburta and Christopher Mueller-Block. I thought they did a fantastic job highlighting this important aspect that perhaps highlights the fact that things don't always pan out the way you plan them, right? So moving on here. This is an interesting article. So recently, it's been quite prominent in the news about fake news and deep fakes. And in this article, fraudsters deep fake a CEO's voice to trick manager into transferring $243,000. This is an interesting one. That's according to the Wall Street Journal, which reported the first ever case of AI-based voice fraud. I love this, AKA vishing. This is a brand new term for me. I don't know, Philip, if you've come across this one. Short for voice phishing that cost a company $243,000. Ultimately, what happened here is that the fraudsters convinced the CEO to transfer that sum, and then the money mysteriously vanished, and then requested an additional transfer, and that's when the CEO realized that there's something a little fishy here. But it does come down here. If you come down here, it does say that the company CEO, hearing the familiar slight German accent and voice patterns of his boss, is said to have suspected nothing, the report said. So this is the world we live in now. We have fake news, fake text, deep fakes, and now vishing, which I had never heard that term before this article. I find this fascinating. You start to, maybe this is why live streaming is such a popular thing these days, because perhaps it just looks more authentic, and it's perhaps a little bit more understood that this is real. And people appreciate authenticity, don't they? So,
well, all the deep fake video or audio technology really requires a lot of previous content to train it on. So if you are the average person, nobody's going to be able to deep fake you. It is the famous people who have had a lot of video and audio on them that they're the ones who are going to be able to are susceptible to this.
Interesting.
It's just the way that technology works.
Interesting. So the more content of you out there, the more at risk you are of being deepfaked. Okay. Yep.
The deep learning algorithms have to process both your voice and the examples of the other voice before they can synchronize them.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you sound like you have a lot more familiarity around this subject than I do. I have to highlight this before moving on that on the Gossip About Gossip podcast, which we have a separate playlist for on our YouTube channel, we did, Paul Madsen is the host of our podcast, and we did have Attestive on our podcast recently, where they their use case is addressing the problem of deepfakes. Highly recommend everybody go check out this YouTube video / podcast to check out a little bit more about this technology, to understand that there actually are teams out there, very ambitious, very capable teams, who are working very hard to address this problem, because at the end of the day, it's all about trust. And if you don't have that trust with an entity that you're dealing with, or a conversation that you're having with on the other end of the line, then what are you basing your information on, right? So highly want to suggest people check out this YouTube video that we have of our podcast as well.
Ultimately, I think some of those you need to capture the source material, whether it's the video or audio, and basically archive it so that people, so you have a record you really said. You really almost need it at the camera or microphone level, logging or getting a hash or something.
Having the origin hash of the origin file before someone goes in and edits it and deep fakes it. I'd have to re-listen to the Attistive, to be honest with you, to see how they're, I can't remember how detailed they get in the podcast, but it's certainly worth another listen for sure.
Agreed.
And then we have this article actually where Philip, you yourself, you actually commented on this article. I think they've edited the article since. Does Hedera Hashgraph development solve blockchain's scalability issues? Scalability issues is a very popular conversation in social media. I've noticed a lot of people talk about the trilemma, the blockchain trilemma. And what they do is they first off define what blockchain is. They talk about the different types of blockchain, and then they highlight the blockchain scalability issue. They actually talk about the large network size, the rising transaction fee, which everybody saw back in 2017 using I suppose using Bitcoin. Bitcoin would be the best example of how astronomical the transaction fees got to. They talk about the 51% attack. They do not actually highlight the 34% attack if someone was to deploy firewalls around an entire country, for example. Dr. Lehman Baird and Mance Harmon have talked about this at various presentations. And then the complexity of blockchain. So what is Hedera Hashgraph? They go in to define some of the information they had here was a little out of date that you noted in the comment section, and they were quick to make some adjustments. But they say here the Hedera Hashgraph does not require a leader-based system and proof of work, thus making it more cost-effective along with high performance. That is a message that we've been repeating time and time again, I should say. Other issues arise with the scalability is the speed of transactions. As we know, with Bitcoin can undergo 7 to 10 transactions in a single second. Ethereum can do 15 to 20 transactions in a second, and Hyperledger performs thousands of transactions. But leaving all these behind comes Hedera Hashgraph, which allows hundreds of thousands of transactions in 1 second because of data being able to travel exponentially throughout the network. Something that I'd like to highlight here is at open access, which that post went crazy, is September 16th. At open access, we have stated that cryptocurrency transactions, we are coming out of the gate at open access with 10,000 transactions per second. And as we are able to further make the platform more robust, we will be able to scale things up to inevitably what we expect to be 100,000 transactions per second. And so 10,000 transactions per second is quite good in this marketplace, considering we're just coming out of the gate with it right away, which is orders of magnitude better than some of the other DLT platforms that exist currently. So I know a lot of people are very excited about open access to get their paws on it, so to speak, and a lot of developers are egging to get going. A lot of developers are already building on the network as well. So it's very exciting times right now.
Yeah, I've really been impressed with the news articles recently. I remember a year ago or year and a half ago, they just were awful. They could not figure out Hedera. They could not figure out Hashgraph and the podcasts and all the streams, and you'd listen to them and go, did these guys not even ask any questions? And now they're doing a good job. Now they're doing a fairly good job. And, you're finding some actually really good articles out there that are accurate.
That's funny that you point that out, because it's only recently where we started introducing or making announcements of more of our governing council members. And a lot of people were impressed by some of these big names that have decided to join the governing council. These are not marketing agreements. These are they are co-owners of the Hedera Hashgraph LLC. So there's just an amazing amount of due diligence that has to be completed before the enterprise signs on. And I think it's some of these big names that's really actually taken some attention from the press to pay a little bit more attention. So it's interesting that you highlight that. Exactly. Yeah. Back in maybe a year ago, some of the content that went out there wasn't exactly current or accurate. Yeah. Good point.
Well, it's a paradigm shift. I mean, they're shifting from blockchain into basically a with parallel processing type of architecture, from serial to parallel. And you mentioned earlier about the scalability. That's the article. And I mean, that it's not actually timing of how hard the equation is that slows it down. It's how much information can go through a serial, process. And, when you're going in parallel with everything all at the same time, you just have so much more, expansive capability. And, you mentioned the 100,000 and that I'm assuming doesn't even include, future ability to shard and do other sorts of expansion type, planning that you guys have already done. And so, I mean, I just see, you throw out a number there. When I think of Hedera, one of the first things that I thought of was fractals. I saw how the algorithm worked, and I thought, this reminds me of a snowflake. This reminds me of how you can fractally make this thing really, really, really big.
I appreciate your insight there, because actually what you just reminded me of a podcast that Dr. Lehman Baird did with Bulletproof's Dave Asprey. That was probably about a year and a half ago. And during their discussion, Dave Asprey actually linked the Hashgraph algorithm to things like the microbiome in your gut, and ants that raft together during a flash flood, or flocking birds or schooling fish. The fact that you have this information that is being transferred in parallel and not in series, that's actually, I appreciate how you just described it there, because that's actually how I tend to describe it to someone who is perhaps less technical in nature, because I define myself as less technical in nature. And when being Hedera's social media manager, I tend to get more less technical questions and comments, and the more technically minded people end up in Discord. And if you're a developer, if you're more technically minded, I highly recommend that you go check out our Discord channel. And a lot of people find value in engaging with us in Telegram or Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube or any of the other platforms that you have to choose from, whatever your favorite is. And typically that's how I can quickly summarize things for people, where blockchain, if I had to summarize it quickly, I would say blockchain operates in series and Hashgraph operates in parallel. So I appreciate you highlighting that point there. Yeah. All right. So moving on here, we got what else? We are going to. I think I was going to show you. Yeah, this I should move over. I think I've moved my things out of order here. So I'm moving a little bit out of order here because I somehow messed up my tabs. But we got here this Yahoo Finance article, Fusion set to work with Geneva University to educate students on blockchain technology. So if you are watching this live stream and you are looking for a new career change, you are looking to start things over, maybe you're 20, 21, 22 years old, you're looking to get into technology, boom, right here. The course is offered at the University of Geneva or via Skype video. This new blockchain course offered by Geneva University is structured around programming modules that explore the infrastructure of well-known blockchain projects like Neo, Ethereum, Hedera Hashgraph, Libra, and Fusion. I wanted to highlight this article for anyone who is recognizing that this is a very exponential growth technology, that this is the future, this is where things are going. And these massive educational institutes are recognizing this as well. So there you go. This is a resource for you to to leverage so that you're able to enter the workforce with a leverageable skill that companies are desperately going to need. I know from firsthand experience that Hedera Hashgraph is hiring lots of software developers. So it's a growing need, and I highly recommend, if you are a young person or not a young person and you're looking to start all over again, here is a perfect example of a program that you can leverage and find some work in the industry. So wanted to highlight this one too.
And I'm always a favor of the entrepreneur. I mean, that I grew up in the going the job route, and this country and this world needs more entrepreneurs. And there's always we need both. We need both employees and people who are willing to hire the employees. And so I think it's one where the more projects we get, the more diversity and just the more rich ecosystem. And there's some large companies out there, and you take your big social media platforms, and they have a vision, they have a goal, and a lot of times that's not in our best interest. And just having people willing to step out and have financial freedom, right? They're out there to risk and to take make those big leaps that will change the world.
That's a fair point. Yep. Social media doesn't always have the end user's best interests in mind. You don't have to go far on the news to find examples of that. So that's a really good point. We got a Disruptor Daily article here: blockchain in supply chain management use case number 10, Armada chain. This article I'd love to highlight here because I was moving the YouTube video around here earlier on my tabs, because Armada chain is doing a lot of ambitious things when it comes to supply chain management. If you spend any time online, researching DLT technology, you're going to come across plenty of examples of supply chain management. A lot of people speculate that supply chain management is tailor-made for DLT. Armada chain is doing a lot of fantastic things. They are working and building on Hedera Hashgraph, and that's why I wanted to highlight this Gossip About Gossip podcast hosted by Paul Madsen again, because Kent Makishima, the founder of Armada chain, jumped on a podcast with us, and you can check out this YouTube video as well to see all the cool things that they are working very hard on. Because this is technology that impacts all of us, whether you see it or not. Because I mean, when it comes to supply chain management, all you have to do is look around your house, look around your business, and pretty much anything you see or touch had to be transported to you at some point through a store, through rail, through truck, and if there are ways to further optimize that process, that just benefits everybody at the end of the day. So it's a no-brainer that this is a possible point of explosion or pop or whatever you want to call it with DLT technology and in general. So yeah, I wanted to highlight this one too. And what else? It looks like I've duplicated my tabs here. And then moving on to the social sizzlers. So I have two of them for everybody this week because I had two tweets that just exploded. This one probably is not a surprise. Dr. Levin Baird was a guest on the Anthony Pompilano podcast, Off the Chain, Pomp, famously known on Twitter and social media as Pomp. This one had a lot of engagement, and I wanted to highlight that for everyone to check out if you haven't listened to the podcast already. They had a really good conversation in this. They actually covered a ton of content in a brief period of time. So head over to the Off the Chain podcast, Pump's podcast, and give that a listen. And then I had to include this one too. Normally I only include one, but this smart contract post, I was blown away with how much engagement it actually received. It got more, I think it got more likes but less retweets than Pump's. Yeah, that's right. No, more retweets, but actually, yeah, more retweets and a little less likes than Pump's podcast. So smart contracts is clearly a a very high value interest topic for a lot of people as well. So I wanted to highlight this one for everyone as well, because we have, if you go to hedera.com/smart-contract, you'll be able to get a lot more information on this, because I think a lot of businesses out there are very proactive in digging deeper into smart contracts, wondering how this is going to impact their business and how they're going to manage things moving forward. So this is a hot topic, and I'm blown away every time I realize how many people are engaging in smart contracts content. So yeah.
And and this is before anybody really understands or knows about the consensus service, right? I mean, their consensus service is going to create brand new paradigms, but having smart contracts on the Hedera platform does attract developer interest. And so if for nothing else, it brings them to Hedera for them to understand about Hedera consensus service, and then probably switch over once they realize what it does.
That's a fair point. Hedera Consensus Service, HCS, is something that the marketplace is still trying to get their heads wrapped around. It won't be available right at open access, and we'll be making announcements. I know a lot of people are very eagerly waiting for that announcement to come, because, like you said, for certain use cases and in businesses, that will make the whole smart contract conversation obsolete. Once you realize that you can gain access to the fair ordering consensus service of the Hashgraph algorithm itself, and then move the transactions and data privately on your own side. The quickest way to summarize HCS is combining the trust of a public distributed ledger technology with the trust of a private distributed ledger technology. And for the first time, this is actually possible. Up until now, no one's really been talking about that, because there was no tech available that made that possible. So thanks for highlighting that. That's actually a good point. That smart contracts. Yeah.
There's one other term that everybody uses, and I don't think people really understand. You know, everybody says blockchains are secure. But I mean, one of the things about languages is you can use it in many different ways. Secure in what? Secure in tampering. I mean, that's the point of security, is that not that, hey, this data is private, but that, hey, nobody can touch it or nobody can change it. And that's where we add two types of security. We add the ability for the consensus service to bring in data that people want to keep securely private, and have security of not being able to manipulate it.
Yeah. Fair point. And it looks like I just lost where did it go? I just lost my presentation. Sharon, I may need to pass it back over to you. I don't know what I just clicked.
Okay, not a problem at all. Yeah, let me start sharing that.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing. Sorry.
Second.
Yeah, I don't know what I just clicked, but I just lost the presentation.
Oh, okay, no problem. Let me get that shared, and we'll be good to go. Yeah.
And you can let us know if there's anything in the live chat that we would love to get Phillips' impression on. Yeah.
Well, there was a question. Yeah, let me just share this so you should be able to see it. There was a question related to if we will be supporting the ledger, and I don't know if you have anything you can say on that yet.
I don't have much information on that, because I know it was posted on GitHub, and the team also posted a message regarding the support of Ledger with that it's not ready yet. They essentially posted a message saying that I apologize, I don't have it off the top of my head here, but I know that the team supported a messaging along the lines of that it's not ready yet. But it's coming, and people were very excited with that affiliation there and that ability, but unfortunately I don't have any additional information to add on that. Yeah. Okay, but the exciting news that we all love to talk about is the hero of the week. We got H. Boris out of Miami. Boris, I don't know if you're watching the live stream or if you're watching the recording, We are pumped and excited to make you the community hero of the week. So I'm going to reach out to you on Telegram, or you should shoot me a message if you see this and if you beat me to it. There's lots of things happening right now, and if I don't message you, please message me, and we're going to get you a voucher for shop.hedera.com. Maybe you want to get a t-shirt like this, or a water mug, or a coffee mug, or a water bottle. We got all kinds of merch that people lost their minds and went crazy on once we launched that online store. But it's a very small gesture. Thank you for all the work that you do in the community. It does not go unnoticed. You're constantly active in Telegram, and we appreciate the community members so much. Much like yourself there, Philip, every Hedera Hashgraph enthusiast, ambassador, admin that jumps in the chat. As much as I'd love to be in the chat 24/7, I can't. It just doesn't work out that way. And the community rises up because they realize something big is happening, and HBARS is a perfect example of that. So this is just a very tiny gesture, a thank you from Hedera Hashgraph to you. So reach out to me, or I'll send you a message. And we are wrapping things up here. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Sharon's got the funny for us, a little reminder to join and register for the virtual event on September 16th. Go to hedera.com. Please go to hedera.com. Tell everyone to go to hedera.com. Register for this virtual event, because that's when everything changes. That's when, I think that will be a date that will be remembered. And perhaps I'm biased, but I believe that is a date that will be remembered, because that's when there's going to be an exponential shift in the possibilities out there for everybody. So make sure you go to hedera.com, register for the virtual event, watch the event. I don't know if Sharon can offer any more details, but I know that they're even keeping us in the dark on some details, and I'm sure it's going to be an exciting event. I don't know what they're going to be presenting, because it's a big day. It's a big day for Hedera Hashgraph. This is the last live stream before the event, and we're all waiting to celebrate that event for everybody. So I mean, I'm coming to you from right now from London, outside the London, the UK area. Sharon, I think you're still in the San Francisco area. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll be going to San Francisco. We've got a couple of viewing parties for the employees, etc. And we have thousands of people that have registered for the live stream. There will be some surprises for sure, but it is definitely something that you'll want to attend. It's just going to be exciting. There will be our co-founders that'll be on there, and we'll get some great news out to you. Note that we will not have a Forkless Cafe next Monday. We won't be having a Forkless Cafe, but do stay tuned, because speaking of surprises, we're looking at having a pretty exciting Forkless Cafe that next week, a special edition with some special guests. So nothing announced yet, but please do stay tuned. And as we find out more and get things settled, we'll make sure that the community knows.
Exactly. And I got to ask, I didn't say this in the beginning. Philip, where are you coming to us from?
Right now I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I travel quite a bit for work, so it just depends on where I am this week, and I'm home this week. So.
And that's where your meetup is going to be, in Charlotte?
Yes. Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. Good stuff. Well, you're going to have, when's your meetup? I should have asked that.
Working with Alec to get it on the 19th, Thursday, ideally.
Perfect.
We are working on the topic, and we're just trying to, it may be better, those resources that we were hoping to get on board wouldn't be available before OA. So it makes sense to try to do it after.
There you go. So if you're in the Charlotte area, I highly recommend to check out Philip's meetup, because there's going to be a lot to talk about. Yeah. If it's only a few days after open access, you're going to want to be in the room. You're going to want to have a chat with Philip and get access to the latest and the greatest. And then we also have the podcast survey. we have the Gossip About Gossip podcast, and we have recently, or did we recently put out the survey, or are we about to do that, Sharon? I've lost track of that now.
We've got the survey out, but we'll make sure that we get that back in Telegram so that and other places so that people can find the survey and take it for us. We'd appreciate it. Get better gossip.
Yeah, give us some feedback. Tell us what you like, and we'll get you more of what you like. We're here to help you out. We want to give you the content that you're aching for. There's a lot of questions out there, and we're going to answer them. We're always posting podcasts and videos and presentations and live streams and everything else. So last but not least, join the community, join the chats, follow us on social media. If you like this live stream, hit the like button so that we can keep making them, so that we can keep making these live streams for everybody to bring you up to speed on all the latest and the greatest. You can comment below the video. You can ask your questions. We will pass them up the line if we can't answer them ourselves. I'm not a developer. I can't answer a lot of the technical stuff, but we can definitely pass them up the line there, and we'll get those questions answered. But we're excited to grow the community and help support the community even more so than we already have, because there's a lot of exciting things ahead of us, and we can't wait to get there. We can't wait to get to open access.
Andrew, I'd like to mention, hey, there are other meetups that I just want to give a shout out to. One's that's going to go on in Boston. I know they have a live meetup that's going on right out away. So just really looking forward to other communities who are active in this area. Just want to give a shout out to them.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, we got Kat, our ambassador, hosting a meetup in Boston. Very active community member. And there's probably going to be a lot of activity around the 16th, the 17th, the 18th. You can imagine that buzz is going to last for quite a while. There's going to be some big news announced, made public. And on top of all the big news we've already announced recently over recent weeks, I think people have been very anxious to get to this point. It's taken a lot of work. It's taken a lot of work and effort to get here. And we're very excited to finally be here, because it's the beginning. We've worked this hard to get to the very beginning. This is where everything starts. So it's going to be exciting to see where things go. Yeah. So how are we looking in the live chat there, Sharon? Are we wrapping things up here? Or?
Looking good. There weren't any more tech questions. There were some questions related to price, and we don't speculate on price. Exchanges, and we won't speculate on exchanges, but no other tech questions out there.
Gotcha. Yeah. As we've always said, the announcements about exchanges come from the exchanges themselves. Hedera Hashgraph won't speak on behalf of other companies, but we really appreciate everyone tuning in, and keep following us on social media and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Because there's going to be a lot of exciting things ahead, and you're going to want to get access to it. Thanks so much for joining us, Philip. Last minute.
Philip. It was great. Great having you. Yeah. Woohoo, Philip. Right on.
You're amazing. Not only did you join our live stream last minute, but you're extremely active in the Telegram chat, and can't thank you enough. I've seen how active you are in there, and thank you. I personally and professionally, thank you.
I see this is the future, right?
Hello, future.
Yep.
All right, awesome. Thanks for joining us there, Philip. Take care, everybody. We'll see you 2 weeks from now, or approximately 2 weeks from now, because we may have a special edition Forkless Cafe, like Sharon already mentioned. We'll see you then.
See you then. Bye, everyone.